I'm Dr. Kemi for Kemi Talks Media. It's Thursday, the 30th of January, 2025. We have breaking news coming out of Washington where we've learned a whole lot of tragedy. I've been reporting aviation news for 31 years. If you want to see that, it's always on my X, Kemi Talks Aviation. Now, this is one of the worst plane crashes I've seen in a long time. What we're hearing and what we know right now is American Airlines Flight 5342 was involved in a mid-air collision with a U.S. military helicopter. Now, that military helicopter was an UH-60, which is what they call a medium utility helicopter. And we're getting updates, and because we're almost 9 hours ahead of Washington, where I am here, we're getting a lot of updates ahead of Washington. We're learning now that the plane was on a landing path and it had almost completed the journey. Look up here. This is Flight Aware. If you look in the bottom here, Flight Aware, Flight Radar, I use a lot of software. Most of the time I use Flight Radar and Flight Aware. If you go to Flight Aware and Flight Radar, you guys can see every single plane in the air, where they're going, where they came from, all the activities is online. So the public can even see the path of the planes now. So it is really sad because I've never seen anything like this before. Look at the Flight Aware report for American Airlines. I actually watched the tracking, and then when it was about to land, a U.S. military helicopter runs right through it. As you can see, the update on there now, the flight time was 2 hours. Look at the bottom of this, 2 hours right here. Okay, 2 hours and 45 minutes. The flight was about to land. People on the plane had called their loved ones. We're about to land, so get ready to come to the gate. They were coming from Witicha, Kansas. And you can see they're departing from gate 6, and they were about to arrive at gate 53 at Ronald Reagan Airport, which is what they call a regional airport in America. Canada has them too, small airports that you can still take off and land with smaller planes and smaller chartered planes. PSA Airlines was running this flight, and they call it American Eagle for American Airlines. This is a very tragic week for American Airlines. As you remember, I reported about what happened in Charlotte, North Carolina. Earlier this week in Charlotte, a person died on the tarmac. The people that work on the tarmac was hit by one of those catering or utility trucks, and the man died, and we could see all the pictures of everybody working on the tarmac in a round circle in solidarity for the death. So that was a sad one earlier this week for American Airlines. Ground crew died, and now we have this. Now, some of the updates I have here right now that some of the media in America don't even have are the circumstances and who was on that plane. There's a lot of theories in the comments. Even I posted one saying that the Department of Homeland Security and the NTSB must really dig into this one. First of all, the NTSB is almost there now, starting their investigation. National Transportation and Safety Board that governs all transportation and safety activities in the United States. Now, the new Secretary of Transportation, everybody was on ground, the D.C. Fire Chief, the D.C. Police Department, the mayor spoke. All this thing was unfolding overnight in most parts of the world, and Americans were still asleep. Some heard it before they went to bed, but it was still very sketchy. Now, what I know as of this time, let me see, Nigerian time should be 12:17 p.m. So as of this time, 12:17 p.m. over there in Nigeria, this is what we know. Okay, Flight 5342 was carrying 60 passengers and 4 crew members. A flight pilot, a captain, first officer, and 2 flight attendants, 60 passengers, meaning there were 64 on the plane. Plane was about to land. Minutes before it landed, a Blackhawk just flew right through it, and everybody crashed. 3 people were on the Blackhawk helicopter. And my own theory as an investigative journalist and an aviation reporter is that, I've always said this in Nigeria. Everything in Nigeria, they will kill you and make it look like an accident. Some things are done that way. So I am urging the Homeland Security to investigate the people on that helicopter. Now, an update on the helicopter. It was a training flight and it's been confirmed. Now that even scares me more. If it was a training flight, we all have to train on our jobs. We all have to fly things, fly helicopters, and we do make mistakes, and mistakes could be as severe as crashing. So that's saddening. Now, does that take away the theory of a terror attack? No, it doesn't. They still have to look into that. That's Homeland Security and NTSB's job, okay? Because we've had 2 similar kind of funny attacks recently. The former military guy who ran his car on Bourbon Street in Louisiana, killing several people. And of course, the other former military guy who parked his Tesla in front of Trump's hotel and blew it up. So the military guys on this helicopter need to be checked. Their last notes, their homes, everything. If anything is suspicious about any of them. 3 of them were on board that flight. Was it a suicide mission? They both died. But you can see clearly, I've seen 2 very different and distinct footage of this flight. Now, the one I have up here, you can see up here, this is the one that most people haven't seen. The actual airport runway where other planes were parked. And this view actually shows that helicopter sit somewhere down there. And when that plane is coming, the helicopter just moves right into it. So this is the theory most people are writing in the comments all over social media, that this was possibly deliberate and, it was made to look like an accident. Now let's turn to who was on the plane. That's even more tragic, okay? The conspiracy theory is that somebody famous on the plane, they might be aiming for that person and all that. Right out of this moment, I have gotten information that almost the entire U.S. figure skating team was on the plane. Figure skating, figure skating, the ones that skate on ice rinks and they go to the Olympics, win all the medals. Do we have an Olympics coming up? No. Do we have a Winter Olympics? I'm not even sure. But almost the whole U.S. team was in that plane. And I believe they were on their way to Washington for some kind of program. And how do we know this? As journalists, we're following what's going on social media. Social media has changed a lot. And what we have is the U.S. figure skating people are now tweeting, okay, praying for the safety of their team members on board the plane. And we've gotten tweets from 2 or 3 prominent skating people. So we know the skating community is tweeting and the team is there. Now, don't forget, the authorities cannot announce that just yet. Okay, Robert Isom, the CEO of American Airlines, released a video. And he was very, very sad on what happened. He said one thing. Isom said, I can't report anything unless we get permission from the authorities because the families have not all been contacted. Yes, some family were at the airport, but many of them are at home. So they can't say that just yet on national TV that the skating team were on there and stuff. Even the parents of the skating team would have, seen the news. But that's where American journalism is different. You can't tell the media until you have confirmed it and told the family members. It is an absolute tragedy. Everything needs to be looked at. The history of the pilots in the military jet and everything. Because I don't want it to be like that military Bourbon guy and also the one in front of Trump's hotel. A lot of people don't like Trump right now, but that's no excuse. They can do something like this. It could be a terror attack. It could be deliberate. And this is where the National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, and of course the FBI, everybody's going to be in this one. It's going to be some long days on this. So I have like 9 days to get out of journalism, but I'll give you as many updates as I can. I'm Dr. Kemi Talks Media.